what I will recommend, and I think this is important, is that you don't ever judge a book by its cover. You don't ever judge people by who you think they are to be or what you think they are, based on your first, I guess, impression of them. And so as an older law student, I never really paid much attention to this because my goal was to get my law degree so I can start making some money. Because, you know, my goal is like, I want to make money, you know, I want to be able to like provide for my children and all that other good stuff like that. But a lot of the law students or a lot of my peers, they would try to gauge how smart a person would be based on where they went to undergrad, based on like how they sounded, based on where they were from, based on what their parents did. And they would automatically just like ignore other people whom they thought would not be able to assist them, which was very interesting. And so I know my first year, there were these two ladies who English was their second language. And little known fact, they were actually attorneys in their home countries of Brazil and Panama. And so the unique thing was like, I remember them, I remember them going up to the professor one day after class, and they were like, you know, they really didn't have anyone to help them. And so I saw one of the girls and I was like, hey, I was like, if you need someone to study with, like, study with me. And she was like, okay, yes, I would love to. Like, I've been looking for someone to like help me study because we're not really understanding and it doesn't make a lot of sense to us and blah, 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 blah. And so we ended up being a study group. And then one of my friends, Chloe, we ended up all studying together. And we made our best grade in civil procedure. Because the thing was, those women, or those ladies, they were attorneys in their home country. The only difference was that they needed to know, like, the rules of America. Like, the processes were very similar in a sense, but a little different. Like, the standards were kind of similar, but, you know, again, it's like based on kind of like English law a little bit because, you know, we're America, Brazil, and Panama, a little different. But like, they understood like how the process works. Like, one was actually a criminal attorney, the other one, I forget what type of law that she practiced, but for them, like, going through a trial, like going through the whole court thing was like second nature to them. They just needed to learn the rules and how it works in America. And so it was because of them that I was even able to get a good grade in Civ Pro. And I was talking to my friend Chloe the other day, and we are just like, man, we would just be studying like 12 hours. We would just go in the library, pick a room. We would have like our lunch and dinner there, and we would just teach each other what we knew. And like, we both ended up making our best grades out of all of law school for the most part out of that class, our 1L year. And it was like because of them, and it was because of Chloe. And so like, don't ever judge a book by its cover. I mean, don't ever think that someone is not able to help you. And the funny thing is, like I said, I wanted to do entertainment law, and I'll tell you where I will be working shortly, maybe in the next video. But like, I ended up working for an attorney doing some entertainment law, which is pretty cool. I'm in Alabama, so it's kind of rare. But one of the girls, the one that's an attorney in Brazil, was like, hey, I found this job, you should apply for it. And that was the only reason I was able to do some entertainment law work remote. And so it was just like a really cool experience because she was always trying to find a way to like help me for helping her. And I was like, don't cook for me, don't do anything, like, you just take your test, like, we'll take our exam, you pass the bar, you start practicing, like, you're fine, like, we're here to help each other. And so she was so happy that I was able to get that job. And it was like thanks to her, because I never would have found it if I did not know her. And so that's why I'll say that, because you never know like who can help you, or you never know what people have known in their experiences. And the people who were really close to me, I was their sounding board for work, because a lot of my peers are 19, 20, maybe 21, 22, 25, and a lot of them have never worked before. Like, a lot of them were so fortunate and so blessed to have like their parents take care of them, and they were able to go from undergrad straight through law school, maybe get their master's and straight through law school, and never have to work. Or if they did work, it was like volunteer work, doing something that they wanted to do. But working a full 8-hour shift or a 10-hour shift, working 40, 50 hours a week was something they've never done before. And I remember conversations during our first year where I would just sit and talk to them for about 10 or 15 minutes and just say like, yeah, you can work. If you can study 60 hours a week, why can you not work 40 hours a week? Like, it doesn't make sense that you think that you're not able to handle a job for 40 hours, or like, you know, I don't know what they would expect for me. They would expect for you to do your best, like the same expectations that you have for yourself with your education. Those would be the same expectations your partners, junior partners, senior partners, shareholders would have of you. And so if you take it that way, you're good. And so it's just a lot of talking people out of their fears or working full time. So that's why I say do not judge people, because you never know who can help you. And then you never know, like, there were like a lot of people who judged people, and then when grades came back, they were like sad that they didn't get the grades that they should have got, because they didn't decide to get to know or decide to like help out these other people who ended up making the best grades in the class. And so it goes to show you that like it just really doesn't matter. And then on top of that, like, you have some people who hustle like me, and like we didn't make the best grades, but we have great paying jobs. And it's just like, so it's just everyone's on a different playing field. Just don't judge a book by its cover. Treat everyone with respect. Don't think that someone is like beneath you or lower than you because they have a different background, or they may be a little older than you, or they may not speak English perfectly, or they speak English with some sort of accent. Like, I have a southern accent. It's really, really strong when it comes out. And so, just treat everyone with respect. That's my main recommendation. And my second recommendation is that have as much fun as you can. I think I had as much fun as I could. Like I said, I'm an older law student, so I'm not a fan of like drinking till 2 in the afternoon. Like, I was never really a fan of that, but I was able to like connect with people and meet people and just learn about areas of the law that I never thought I would learn about. So I guess the second one would be like enjoy yourself and just have fun and experience wherever you are. I was in a small town, very small town. I tend to like bigger cities, like large cities, but just enjoy, like, see all the things around, like enjoy yourself, have fun, do things that you like, take law classes that you like, because everything in law school is just like surrounded by the law and there's always more to learn. And I know me, like, I'm a slow learner at first, but once I get it. And so I know it took me a while. Like, it just took me a while just to understand a lot of my courses, and that is perfectly fine. But also take time to enjoy. Go kite flying. That's one of my favorite hobbies. I can't wait to do that pretty soon. Go fly a kite, go walking, go running. Like, take up some sort of hobby and just like make sure you have somewhat of a balance. I know it's really hard, and I'm the one to talk because I didn't really have much of a balance while I was in law school. So weird, because technically I still am in law school because it's not May 11th yet, but I just have like one paper left to write and I'll be done. So it's like, you're in the middle, and it's like these verb tenses are really hard. But yeah, so that will be it. I mean, I can't believe 3 years, 27 months from 2019 of August to May of 2022 is finally over. Oh, one more suggestion I have is that whether you graduate law school, medical school, like accounting school, undergraduate, high school, whatever, like getting your associates, medical, coding, billing, whatever, like take some time and figure out who you are now, because you've probably grown from when you started that particular program. Like, you gained some new skills, you gained a new way of thinking, and you probably aren't the same person that you were before. And so me being the super emotional person, which is fine by me, but I'm like a more of an emotional thinker. I'm always like, well, how do you feel about this? And how does he feel? And how would they feel about it? I'm all about how people feel about things, and it just flew off again. And so now it's like, as a future law graduate, which is the best way to put it, I now can think logically, like, like how does A, B, and C work? But then also like, like, let's be empathetic about this situation or about this client too. So it's like you learn the best of both worlds. And so now I'm in the process of figuring out what are my hobbies, because I kind of lost them. Not going to lie, most people who do go to law school lose everything because we're just so inundated by law. But, like, what do I like? Like, what are some fun things that I like to do? And it's so funny because it came full circle. So my last week before my last final, or like the night before my last final, I ended up watching a whole bunch of cartoons on YouTube. I ended up watching Mr. Bean. So I've been watching Mr. Bean. I love British shows, British cartoons. I grew up watching a lot of them with my mother. And of course I love American too. But I just watched that, and it was just like the funnest moments ever. And it's so interesting because my first week of law school, it was so rough. I was struggling to comprehend what SpongeBob was saying. And now I'm just like laughing like head over heels about like the situations that Mr. Bean has put himself in, and it's just like very appropriate. It came full circle. Like, yeah, I struggled at the beginning, but now I get it. And like I realized there's like I can do things that I didn't think I could do. Like first semester, man, it took me so long to I struggled trying to like comprehend what civil procedure was. Like, how does a trial work? Like, I don't get it. And then my last semester I took evidence, and I was like, oh, you know what? Evidence is a bunch of rules. Civil procedure is also a bunch of rules. Like, I got this. As long as I have enough time to make sure I comprehend it all, I'm good. And I think I learned it in like 3 days because I just didn't have enough time. And I was like, you know what? I can't believe that I actually conquered this. What took me 14, 15 weeks, 13 weeks the first time to understand, now it's actually taking me 3 days, because the first 13 weeks of evidence, like, you're so busy. You're 3L year. You're busy then. Like, you just don't have time to be like, oh, what's this. You just have it all floating. You go to class, you get what you need to get. And then like a few days before the final, maybe a week max, then you're just like, okay, this is what I need to learn. This is why she said this. This is why he said that. This is why they were like harping about this for so long. And so that's really it. And yeah, law school really does teach you how to think. I think that it teaches you how to think. I do believe that I think a bit differently now. I definitely see the world differently, and I have more compassion for people. I am not so quick to judge people when I hear that they've done horrible things. I just get used to it, and I'm kind of, in a sense, desensitized, going from watching SpongeBob and laughing where no one dies really in SpongeBob, or if they do, they resurrect themselves, to dealing with the fact that it is unfortunate that people do die, and some people die in very gruesome and inhumane ways, and how to handle that and how the courts handle that. And so you do get to learn a lot, and things that you didn't think you'll be able to learn. So that's really it. My experiences of law school, my recommendations, and we'll talk later about whether I think you should attend law school, and if so, like why, or why I think you shouldn't. But as for me, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I feel like this is like A Tale of Two Cities, where it was like the best of times and the worst of times, which is like my favorite book, by the way, because it is a far, 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 better life or thing that I've done that I don't remember all the characters. Law school also takes away memories. I should probably read that once I graduate, or watch the movie. But yeah, it was like the best of my times and the worst of my times. But law school is also an asset and a liability, and it just depends on how you look at it. So while I was in it, it was like the most difficult thing. Now that it's over, I'm like, what? I can't believe I did it. I do not ever have to go to school again. So I just want to say thank you all for being patient, and thank you for being on this journey. And I can't believe I get to share this video with you all, and that by the time you see it, I will have walked my little self across the stage. My mother will have seen me walk my little self across the stage. My family will be there to support me, and that all of you will be able to just support me afterwards. And we'll do more videos about bar prep, because that's coming next. And then once bar prep is up, then I'll be a full-fledged attorney once I pass. So yeah. Oh, and also I did the video about the MPRE. Yeah, I passed it. I got the score that I needed for the states I want to work in. So hallelujah. Thank you, God, for that. And that's really it. So I hope everyone is doing well and safe out there. I love all of you. Bye.